Assalamu alaikum students, this is Nazir Sofi, and today what I'm going to talk about is understanding marginalization. Understanding marginalization is the 7th chapter of political science book of class 8th. So the name of the chapter is Understanding Marginalization. So in this in this chapter, I'll be talking about concept of marginalization, then we'll also be talking about causes of marginalization, then we'll be also talking about the effects of marginalization. So in this chapter, after effects of marginalization, we'll be talking about the two marginalized groups in India, and these are Adivasis and Muslims. Though there are other marginalized groups in India also, but in this unit at this level, so we'll be talking about only these two groups, Adivasis and Muslims. And then we'll also be talking about in this chapter minorities and marginalization. Minorities and marginalization. So first, I'll talk about concept of marginalization, what marginalization is. So as far as the meaning of marginalization is concerned, marginalization is the process whereby something or someone is pushed to the fringe, is pushed to the edge of a group and is accorded lesser importance. This is predominantly a social phenomena by which a minority or a subgroup is excluded and their needs or desires are ignored. So what we have come to know by defining marginalization is this. The first thing, someone or something is pushed to the edge or fringe. When we say somebody or some community or a particular community is marginalized or pushed to the edge, what we mean is that that particular person or that particular community is not considered part of the mainstream. And we also talk in this definition, so I also talked about that accorded lesser importance. So that particular community which is marginalized is accorded lesser importance, and then their desires or needs are ignored. There are certain such groups in Indian society which are marginalized and whose actually rights are not taken care of, their needs, desires, their rights, their interests are not taken care of, they are actually ignored, they are neglected. So moving towards the causes of the marginalization. So now I'll be talking about the causes of the marginalization. When I say causes of the marginalization, I'm going to talk about the factors that lead to the marginalization, that makes some communities feel marginalized. So in simple terms, in social environment, social groups, certain social groups of people or communities may have the experience of being excluded. Their marginalization or their deprivation can be because, so we are talking about now causes of marginalization, and a particular community can be marginalized just because the members of this community speak different language, So these marginalized communities may follow different customs or belong to a different religious group, distinct from majority community. So the marginalization can happen also because of the poverty of the people. Just poverty also leads to the getting certain communities in society marginalized, and low social status. And those communities who are considered to be of low social status get marginalized. So these are some of the important causes that actually make certain communities in society feel marginalized. So now we'll be talking about the effects of the marginalization. What happens when a particular community is marginalized? So powerlessness and disadvantage are the two important actually evil effects of the marginalization. Being marginalized actually develops a feeling of or a sense of powerlessness and disadvantage compared to the dominant sections of the society who own land, wealth, and are better educated and politically powerful. So talking about the effects of the marginalization. Effects of marginalization. So marginalization can have effects like powerlessness and disadvantage. And compared to the communities that are dominant. When I say dominant, I mean those communities who own land and wealth and are better educated and politically powerful. And these communities also develop a sense of exclusion. So sense of exclusion is also felt by these communities who are marginalized, sense of difference, and this sense of exclusion and sense of difference actually leads to the communities not having equal access to resources and opportunities. No access, we can say that no access to or equal access, no access to opportunities and resources. So these communities that are marginalized, they do not enjoy their rights fully. They're not able to assert their rights fully. Sometimes these communities, these marginalized communities, are viewed with hostility and fear. So now moving forward, we can conclude that marginalization is not experienced in one sphere. It is the overall effect of social, economic, cultural, and political factors that make certain groups in society feel marginalized. In this chapter, we are going to deal with two marginalized communities in India, and these two communities are Adivasis and Muslims, though there are other marginalized groups in India as well, but at this level, in this chapter, we are going to talk about two communities only. So one is Adivasis and second the Muslims. So first, we'll be talking about the Adivasis. So as far as the meaning of the word Adivasis is concerned, so its literal meaning is original inhabitants. They are the original inhabitants, the residents of India, and these are the communities, Adivasis. When we say Adivasis, these are the original inhabitants or the communities who have lived and continue to live in close association with forests. This means these communities live in and around the forests, and Adivasis constitute 8% of India's population. So out of the total population of India, so as per the census 2011, India has 1.21 billion population, and out of 1.21 billion population, so Adivasis constitute 8% of that. So it means it's a significant size of the community, and many India's mining projects are located in Adivasi areas like Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bokaro, Bhilai. Adivasis, let me tell you that are not homogeneous groups. Adivasis are not homogeneous. There are more than 500 Adivasi groups in India. Not homogeneous. They are not, Adivasis are not homogeneous. There are more than 500 groups, Adivasi groups in India, and they are numerous in states. They are mainly found in states like Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, and northeastern states like Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. And you may have noticed that in Odisha there are more than 60 tribal groups, means Adivasi groups, tribal groups in Odisha alone. And coming to the religion of the Adivasis, so they practice religions rather, which are different from religions like Islam. So Adivasis, we are going to talk about religions Adivasis practice. So their religions are different from Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam. They worship ancestors, so they have very unique religions which are different from Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam, as stated earlier. So they worship ancestors, villages and nature separates like mountain separates, river separates, etc. Adivasis have been influenced by many religions like Christianity, Shakta, Bhakti, Buddhist, and Vaishnav. Okay, now moving towards the language of the Adivasis. So this was all about the religions the Adivasis practice. So now after religion, we'll be talking about the languages these Adivasi people speak. Adivasi languages. So they have their own language. When I say own language, I mean distinct languages from mainstream. Distinct. These languages are distinct. The languages that Adivasi people speak are distinct from the mainstream Indian languages. Distinct from mainstream Indian languages. So, Santhali is a language, understand, as old as Sanskrit, and this language Santhali has largest speakers among Adivasis. So as far as the languages of Adivasis are concerned, so they have their own languages. So when I say they have their own languages, what I mean is that their languages that they speak are distinct from the mainstream Indian languages. And one of the languages called Santhali is as old as Sanskrit and has this language has the largest speakers among Adivasis. So you might have heard often that scheduled tribes. The term scheduled tribes is often used with the term scheduled caste in government documents. So scheduled tribes are actually the tribes recognized by the government of India. Scheduled tribes, and this term is often used with scheduled castes in official documents, scheduled castes, and government has already taken some positive measures in giving reservations to the scheduled tribes in government jobs and also in the legislatures, be it the union legislature, that's parliament, or the state legislatures across India. So now one of the many things that the Adivasis have to deal with is stereotyping. Stereotyping. So when we stereotype a particular community, so that stereotyping may lead to discrimination. We are often, Adivasis are often shown as, they are often portrayed, in colorful costumes, wearing colorful costumes. Whenever the Adivasi community is portrayed either in the media or in the school functions or other cultural events. So we find that they are presented, they are actually portrayed in a peculiar ways, in particular ways or in a stereotypical ways. For example, they are often portrayed wearing colorful costumes, headgear, and mostly dancing. So besides we hardly know about their realities of life, and based on this, stereotyping, we assume that they are exotic, primitive, and backward and resistant to change. So as a result of this, they are being marginalized, they are being excluded from the mainstream.